baby, let's do the grift.
Come on, baby, let's do the grift. Take me by my little hand and go like this. Yeah, grift, baby, baby, grift. Ooh yeah, just like this. Come on, little miss, and do the grift. My daddy is sleeping and mama ain't around. Well, daddy's just sleeping and mama ain't around. Gonna grifty, grifty, grifty till we tear the house down. Come on and grift, yeah, baby, grift. Grift, grift. Ooh yeah, just like this. Grift. Come on, little miss, and do the grift, yeah. Yeah, just like this. Come on, little miss, and do the grift, yeah, yeah.
There we go. Come on, baby, let's do the grift. Oh, come on, baby, let's do the grift. Take me by my little hand and grift like this. Grift, baby, grift, baby, grift, baby, grift, baby, time for the grift, it's time for that grift, baby. You know you gotta grift. Come on, baby, take my little hand and grift like this.
Welcome to the world famous Tuesday night grift, guys. We have a big show for you tonight. And joining us on the grifting panel is Mint Salad herself. What's up, Mint?
Hello. How are you, Tony? It's Tuesday.
I'm good, but you need to turn it up a notch. Just one notch. Just give it a little twist.
One whole notch? I'll become notch right now. Ask me anything about Minecraft, and I'll tell you exactly how to do it.
How crappy is it that you sold it and then they made a shitty movie out of your product?
I don't care. It's not my property anymore. I don't have anything to do with it. But for real, I updated the new updates. They're to my liking. It's something that I would have done, actually. The new Minecraft updates. So I'm going to I like the movie and I fully endorse it, but I don't care.
That is probably the most notch answer I've ever heard. You've channeled your inner notch. But we got a lot of things to cover, a lot of things to talk about tonight. We're going to be talking about Steam warning customers they're not buying games anymore. You don't buy games from Steam. Steam doesn't sell games. They're not a game store anymore. And speaking of the gamers, gamers are outraged. They're outraged because Lara Croft is not sexy enough to have sex with. They're really mad, about this new animated Lara Croft. Apparently her titties not big enough. I like the big titties, so I'm right there with you, gamers.
Rip titties.
Yeah. And then in good news, I think this is like fantastic news. Asmongold just got banned from Twitch, so now maybe he could spend that time cleaning his room because we've all seen his room and it's quite fucking dirty.
I always thought it was a bit. Like he messed up his house and then just like let people in, and then when people are like, "Oh, that's your house now," and then like that's his fake decoy house. Actually, he lives in a really clean house.
He's living the bit the whole time. It's just
yes. I think if you're a mark, if you think otherwise.
Now we have to I have to follow Asmongold around the neighborhood and figure out if that is his real house or not. I didn't even think of that as being like a whole. That's an elaborate bit. That is. But speaking of bits,
yeah.
This stormtrooper cut her bits off, and now she's a woman. They got trans stormtroopers, and people are losing their minds over this. This is an interesting story. We're gonna start with this stormtrooper because apparently people are really upset. I don't even know why people are upset about this.
Yeah, who cares?
I'm getting a lot of.
They're gonna miss Either way, whatever gender they are, they're just going to miss at you.
Yeah. But a lot of people are mad because they're saying this is like, I don't care about the pink news. What the hell? No. They're mad because they're like, this. They're putting trans kids in like, this is a kid's property. Like the kids are going to see this. Yeah, the kids want to be stormtroopers, guys. The kids want to be the bad guys. They want to be the. I thought the stormtroopers were like space Nazis. Shouldn't like the people who don't like the trans be like, well, they made the Nazi character trans, so that's like a good thing, right?
I've never wanted to be a stormtrooper in my life. I've always wanted to be the main characters. Stormtroopers, they suck at shooting and they're not cool. So who would want to be them? So even with that argument, it doesn't make sense because I don't know anyone wants to be a stormtrooper.
Yeah. They get shot at. You get to kill the stormtroopers because you're Luke. You could kill the trans trooper. They should be happy. Like, hey, they're giving us targets. I don't know. But this is written by Emily Chuddy. What a name. She's not a chud, but she's very chuddy. Star Wars trans clone trooper becomes the latest character to trigger the anti-woke brigade. She even got the trans colors. Like even in Star Wars, they've all agreed, guys. Purple and blue. Those are the trans colors.
I mean, this doesn't really speak trans to me, honestly. If I'm just looking at that, I would my first perception would be, oh, that's just a guy with long hair. But is that transphobic of me to think? That's just like my intuition would tell me. And then someone said that's trans. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I move on because I don't care.
Yeah, I really don't care either. I don't know why people are upset. As I said at the top, it's like, okay, so some stormtrooper decided they wanted to be a woman. Okay, guess whatever. Like, anyway, so
yeah, aren't they just recruited? The stormtroopers are recruited, and then if it was a clone trooper who is trans, I'd be like, wait, what?
No, it is. It is
they're all clones, but they're stormtroopers, which means they're recruited.
This is a clone trooper. It's a clone trooper.
Why is it called stormtrooper then? If it's a clone trooper,
I said stormtrooper, but it says clone.
Well, no. The article says clone trooper. The title says clone trooper. The article says stormtrooper. Those are two different things. They need to specify which is which.
Yeah. Well, I believe in the book it is a clone trooper because it's one of the clones of Jango Fett.
Okay. This article's not clear.
Yeah, it's written by a woman. She doesn't know the difference between stormtroopers and clone troopers. Oh, I did it. And you did it. I did it. I was like, what the hell are you talking about, man? They're the same thing. One became the other, right? Like,
I'm more offended by this journalist not being specific about their word usage than the inclusion of a trans stormtrooper or clone trooper. Whatever, I don't care.
Yeah. All right, let's get to it. Let's see what I have to say about this. It says The Secrets of the Clone Troopers was published on Tuesday, October 8th, and included a transgender character called Sister. Alongside an illustration of the trooper whose armor features the white, pink, and blue colors of the trans flag, which is again really weird that even in Star Wars they've all agreed that those are the trans colors. A quote shared on X Twitter reads, "When one of our kind expressed her gender identity differently than her fellow troopers, she figured she'd have to hide who she truly was inside. Fortunately, her brothers in the 7th Sky Corps gave her the name Sister as a constant reminder that she belonged." I think that would be a constant reminder that she didn't belong. Like, you don't even get a name anymore. You're just a woman. You're just a female, right? Like,
is she the only female out of the clone troopers?
Yeah, because they're all dudes. They're clones of
yeah. Gender. Then who is she a clone? Did a clone accidentally switch gender?
No, it was on purpose. She was like, I didn't feel like a man. Yeah,
trans. Okay. Whatever.
When they were mixing that batch,
they accidentally hit on shooting practice.
They hit chemical military. It's like the Powerpuff Girls. They're mixing the new batch of Jangos, and he hit the thing. Oh shit! Someone spilled in that one. Don't worry, nothing's gonna happen. I'm sure it'll be okay.
Man.
says Sister is not actually a new character, having appeared in the 2022 novel Queen's Hope by E.K. Johnson, where she meets pivotal figure Anakin Skywalker, who tells her the Jedi are all about transcending things. I don't think we can complain if you've transcended gender. So apparently, this is everyone's pissed at a character that's been trans for 2 years now. Why are we talking about this?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. It's just it's obvious reasons to get to people who don't like woke stuff in Star Wars. That's obvious. It's all rage baity. The reaction to this.
I think in the book is so obscure, no one actually read Queen's Hope, and there probably wasn't a picture in there, so no one talked about it. And then this new book came out, and there was a picture on Twitter, and people were like, "Oh no, this is crazy." I mean, because even right-wing pundit Michael Knowles writes about Star Wars trans clone trooper.
Yeah, I stopped. You know what? I don't even think I've read any of the extended Star Wars stuff. Like I only watch the movies. So if you like the books, how would this, like you said they've been trans for a couple of years. So I think these creation of the article is just to stir up rage and I personally, it's just like it's over nothing. It is really over nothing. Wow, we're just gonna find a reason to be angry at something, whatever. There's other things to be mad at, like that are legitimately you should be mad at.
Yeah, like the election. Despite this, several social media users lashed out at the character, with some saying her inclusion was, quote, virtue signaling, and one describing it as, quote, pandering to the gender cult. So here is, we already read the description, and then obviously the image.
Oh.
I just think that, like you said, this clone trooper decided they were trans, sure, whatever. And then instead of practicing how to shoot, she spent all that time decorating her armor like a typical woman.
I mean, yeah, that's so funny. I just really like the hair. The hair is really cool, but I feel like that would be like a tactical nightmare because somebody could grab your hair and pull it.
There's so many like, I don't care, right? I really don't, either one way or the other. But when you start doing things like this, then I start having questions like, okay, so did this clone trooper go to like their commander like, hey, I need to have like gender? Does she still have her bits? Because like they're on the field, they're like, hey, I think I'm a woman. Did she like lightsaber her bits off, or like they go somewhere?
That's
like
painful. It would bleed out, Tony.
No, lightsabers are just hot plasma,
I guess
so it would just cauterize the wound.
That's true. That's true. I guess it would do that. If
like a
any
burnt
less
hot
hot, and it would just bleed out the person. Ugh, that's terrifying to think about. Why'd you have to say that, Tony?
Because I'm saying like they're trans, but this is the evil empire. Could you imagine that just like the evil empire's there, like some clone trooper comes, hey, excuse me, boss. Yeah, what's up, clone trooper 34? I feel like I'm a woman. You what now? I'm a woman. Can you send me to the medical team to change my jet? We don't do that here. We're the evil empire. We don't. Why are we pandering? Why are we allowing you to do this? We're the bad guys.
That is true. Like, I feel like that is a good point. I hadn't even considered. Yeah, I feel like they wouldn't allow this, and they would execute her based on.
Just take her to the back. Come here. We have the trans surgery right here. Where did they go?
Not because she has transitioned into becoming a female. She could just do that quietly. But it's the modification of the armor. Like it's such a specific way they designed the armor in order to like show rank that like if you have any variation, then other people are gonna be like, well, why can't I have something like that? And then there goes the entire empire, because now everyone's going to think of themselves as an individual instead of part of this one big group. Like,
that is another good point.
Yeah,
this one trooper is just throwing everything off. We went from not caring to like, wait a minute, this just throws everything off because it's just retarded.
Yeah.
However, other Star Wars fans have welcomed Sister, describing her as awesome. I love how they have the quote here, and then like they got a quote from specific people for all the other stuff, but just some random person somewhere just called her awesome. Like no quote, just just want you to know that. It's very clear just from my feed that the addition of Sister into canon means a lot to some people. To see themselves as a part of Star Wars now they have representation. More representation is better. One person wrote on X.
They want to be part of the Empire?
Yeah.
What?
Everybody wants to be the bad guy. The space Nazis dress cool, got those snazzy uniforms. Did you see Captain Phasma with her like silvery uniform? That thing was dope. She got killed and she didn't do nothing, but she looked cool.
Bro, but Leia in that I don't know if it was a uniform necessarily, but in 5 where she's wearing the white ass perka, man, I would wear that. That's awesome.
She also didn't have any brawn because George Lucas told her there was no bras in space.
I mean, that's a good point.
He's like, no. Carrie Fisher, there's no bras. I'll hold it. Don't worry.
And if you're filming in a cold place, you got them nipples poking.
Yeah, that's why he did it.
Yeah,
George is a pervert. George Lucas.
I mean, that's what the audiences want to see too. Don't get me wrong. I like seeing nipples poke through skin. I mean, poke through the
damn. Those are some strong nipples.
Poke through the shirt. They like the hard nipple pokes through the shirt.
Yeah, everyone loves that. Speaking of poking, another poked fun at those up in arms over Sister's inclusion, saying, "Nah, what pisses me off is y'all man, what's with this y'all's? Y'all believe in space magic, planet killers, space stations, and cloning. Y'all draw the line at someone changing genders." Yeah, because it's just weird. It's just in the context of it's not like some random person on like some backwater country, like planet where like, hey, I want to change genders. Like, okay, it makes sense. They went to like their local doctor and they, everyone was cool with it, right? Like, no, this is like a member of the Empire. Like, yeah, I don't see how the paperwork went through on this. She's not the first trans. Sister isn't the first trans Star Wars character. The universe, which features films, comics, books, novels, video games, has plenty of LGBTQ characters, with the first trans and non-binary Jedi introduced in 2021. Tarak and Siret featured on the covers of Star Wars The High Republic, with the official Star Wars Instagram account saying they support trans lives and are passionate and committed to broadening our representation in a galaxy far, far away. Crazy. So there it is. Everyone very upset. Again, I don't think this is like people being upset. This isn't like the next mainline Star Wars movie features a trans. This is like some obscure fucking book that like 10 people are fucking buying, right?
Yeah, I've never heard of it. I mean, I'm like a movie. I've only watched the movies, so
yeah, same here.
This doesn't affect me at all. I guess the only question I have is if you, like just what I proposed earlier. If you modify your suit, then that, but it's like modify your suit in a customized way, not in a showing your authority rank way. I feel like it kind of undermines the structural integrity of the Empire's influence over these stormtroopers. Like, if one person can do it, then why can't other people do it? And then that just makes it harder to identify who's on what team and stuff like that.
Yeah, they would like single her out, right?
Only logistics is what I'm thinking of. Everything else, I don't care. Like,
everyone blends in because they're all in the same uniform. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. All right. That's the trans stormtrooper. Yeah. Going from a trans trooper to a not sexy. People were calling her Lara Croft. Gamers outraged at Lara Croft is muscular in new Tomb Raider show. Leighton's just in time to talk about them titties. What's up, Leighton? Outlawed Thoughts. It's been a while, but welcome back.
Yeah,
welcome to the new and improved Tuesday Night Grift. This is your first time on the new veto-free Grift, so welcome.
Veto.
You might not be aware,
Grift.
but I stole the Grift from Vito. Lock, stock, and barrel. I took the music. I took the dressers. I took all the tables. Everything that Vito owned that said Tuesday Night Grift, we went into his house and we stole his personal property. His personal fucking property. We took it. It's ours. I
Did
rubbed my balls
Riley
on it.
help?
For legal reasons, I can't answer that.
Man, why did they get rid of her tits? Really? Why? That was like, that's the best part of her is her tits. Her tit to waistline ratio is, her tits are so big and her waistline is so small and her hips are big in comparison, and she's got a perfect hourglass figure. And it's appealing. That's what made it sell. And also it's a fun game. You can have a fun game and also look at the ass of a hot chick with big tits. And now she's gone. Their titties are gone. They're gone. And I'm sad. Why did they take away her tits? Do they want me to take away my tits? Is this some sort of lead by example? I want to have my tits, even if I'm going to be running around doing tomb raiding stuff. If I'm going to raid tombs, I'm going to have my tits out, because if there are some guards be like, hey, what you doing here? I'd be like, bazunga, boobs, babbling. Hey, check out my titties. You're distracted. Distracted. And then I'm stealing your stuff. Bye-bye. And then I zip up and then I have
I think that's
stuff.
a different Tomb Raider movie that you're watching.
It's like the Who's Nailin' Palin variation,
Yeah. This isn't Tomb Raider Triple X is what you're thinking of.
There would be a
Was that
practical...
Pirates of the Caribbean one that came out before the Pirates of the Caribbean movie even technically came out?
There would be
That
a
was the-
practical reason to use those titties, though. Like,
Yeah.
even if you don't even have to take them out, like flash them. You could show cleavage and be like seductive,
Cleavage Brown!
and then just show off your body and like move in a certain way to seduce a man, like you're a cobra snake or whatever. Like, you know how those cobras move? Like, you do that, and then they're like, wow, a woman, and they don't notice that you're stealing their stuff and you have enough time to walk away. You don't even have to run. They'll be so looking at you that you just put them in a trance.
I saw on Twitter somebody put up a photo, and it was a side-by-side of this character next to the voice actor who voiced them.
Yeah, Haley Atwell.
Yeah, and it made me deep laugh. I saw that while I was at work, and I was like, oh, this is just peak Hollywood horse shit. You've got this, they could have just mocapped that girl into the game and just used her.
Well, it's not.
And everybody would have been happy. And instead you get this
Like,
shit. Or show. I'm fucking on. I've had no time on the internet in a while, and I'm, yeah.
Stray Bean says it's fake. They photoshopped her tits to be bigger in that photo. Haley Atwell.
Oh, did they? Okay. Well, then, I literally saw this scrolling through my Twitter feed.
Here's what I would argue with you, Leighton. If you say that Haley Atwell has big tits, therefore Lara Croft should have big tits, then you're literally saying that the voice actress should match the character. So that means you agree with black characters have to be voiced by black characters.
No, that's not my point. My point is more of, obviously, whatever they decided to go with the style of the show is not based off of...
Haley Atwell's voicing the character. That's it. She's not body.
No, I know that. What I'm saying is, what are they basing this Lara Croft character off of? Is it a completely new version of Lara Croft? Or are they basing this off of some other version that's already existed? If it's it's not a completely new creation.
It's based off of the newer games where she has a flatter chest and everything.
Oh,
it's not based off of the original Tomb Raider game.
Then I kind of get them keeping it that way. I know that's irritating. It's not the way I want the character to look, but if they're just continuing on that same horseshit thing... I didn't like the game that was on PS4, I think it was, that I played originally. Yeah. That was, I imagine, the newer one, the and I played through that. It was very similar to like the
It's like Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
yeah,
and
that's
stuff like that.
yeah. There's but I played through some of that. There were the scenes where you were sliding down mountains and shit, and I really liked that stuff because it looked cool. But
I haven't played
other
it yet.
than
I have 'em
visual
all.
stuff,
I haven't played.
yeah,
it.
it's a lot of those games I find are like there's visual stuff I like. Uncharted's like that for me. Like there's tons of stuff in Uncharted that visually I love, but I could care about the overall game. Like it just never really got my interest.
All right, let's read this. It says Netflix just released The Legend of Lara Croft, a new animated series starring Haley Atwell as the titular English treasure hunter, set after the events of Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It has middling reviews from critics so far, with an aggregate score of just 65. But a vocal minority of gamers are outraged at one part in particular: Lara Croft's design. Ooh, yeah, just like Leighton there. Not because it's inaccurate to the games or because Lara looks like a radically different person. No, they're mad that she's muscular. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the woman who scales mountains and fights dinosaurs is probably going to be toned.
Probably going to be pretty muscular, yeah.
Hold on. Real quick. Something I've noticed in articles whenever they're trying to diminish how many people are complaining about something. Can you scroll up? They say a small minority of gamers are outraged. Like I think I saw this in the last Tuesday night Grift too, when an article said this.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
Yeah, so it's like how many people are really complaining because they feel the need to diminish the complaints by being a snarky, saying, "Oh yeah, and a person who climbs isn't going to be toned," you know, just like that. Very disingenuous.
I know some people were complaining about her like chin. They're even saying she looks like a man. That's a lady's chin. It's a little big, but and that's just an arm. Look, she looks like a man.
It's also just an animation style. Like there's just that style of animation which you see all over the place is like that's just what it's gonna look like. Like,
yeah. It says under Netflix's Geeked post celebrating the new show with a collage of Croft's different looks, the comments are filled with similar jabs. Popular replies say she looks like a man, even calling her Larry Croft, while others say the design is woke crap. Several YouTube videos have already cropped up and gained traction, especially on subreddits such as Kotaku in Action. That's where I saw this. Decrying that Netflix has masculinized Lara Croft. Some gamers even liken her to Abby in The Last of Us Part 2. No way, she doesn't look like fucking Abby.
that's a complete sideways comparison because that doesn't work at all. The Abby thing was actually kind of infuriating.
Yeah, Abby's like fucking huge. But anyway, again, climbing up cliff walls and running marathons around the world is probably going to build up some muscle. One commenter even tried to defend their criticism, saying that it's sexist to make female characters look like men. We're looking at the same Lara Croft, right? And as always, there are many, many digs at her square jaw and DEI chin. Yeah, I heard people saying it was a DEI chin. And then they were putting up women who have like that chin in real life to like, oh shit, this actress was given a DEI chin.
See, this is what happened, by the way, to the term woke and all this shit is slowly but surely these people take a word and then or a term or a label and they just use it over and over and over again until it's completely fucking meaningless and gets twisted and turned into anything else. They've done that with the DEI thing now to the point where it's like, listen, this was all connected to a bunch of like NGOs and companies, and there was a whole like actual thing that existed here. There's been books written about it, and now it's just boiled down into this simplified. You're DI higher, you're DI chin. Like, I mean, what are we doing? Like,
what does that
it's
mean?
just
what does that term mean?
It's meaningless now. That's the point. Diversity, inclusion, and
No, it's
inclusivity. Or,
no, diversity,
equity. And
what does that look like? I want to know what the person. Who
how do you
looks like? What does it look like to you physically?
How
Like, is
you
it like a
getting?
square jaw? Is it like
Yeah.
like a heart shaped jaw? Like a
Square.
heart shaped face or whatever? Is it like what does it look like?
Square. They're
You
saying
can't
that she has
see my
square
chin,
jaw.
so does it cease to have any labels? Or is therefore it being unseeable make it another label?
No, you have what we call a neck beard. You got the
Yeah, oh
neck
no,
beard update.
definitely. No shit.
But yeah, so they're saying her jaw is squared like a man. Like men have square jaws. So if a woman has one in a non-real capacity, like if you're born with it, you can't help it. But like you're taking the effort to draw it, you're doing it purposefully, and they're saying that that's DEI.
Yeah,
Like
I
someone's
have a
walking by the
square
animators and smacking
jawline.
hands, going, "No, make that jaw square, 10% square."
Hmm.
All right. It says, thankfully, these complaints are being drowned out in the thousands by those celebrating Lara Croft's updated look, with her bi-colored dress being a particularly highlight for many. Ah, so I guess that dress was actually bi-colored, as in the
But
bi-colored.
again, realistically, the way that they're framing this as like as a redressing of her character isn't technically true because as you were saying, it was based off the game, the last game they made. So and she looked sort of similar there. So then what's the real shift here? Like it seems like this article almost doesn't need to exist from both sides. Like it's just this sort of an observation. I'm going like, well, but if they based it off of the character in the game, how is this a reimagining of anything? It's not. It's just the same thing again, just animated differently. Like
Yeah. It says one post poking fun at those saying she looks like a man even has 176,000 likes. I hate this argument of like likes and stuff because whenever something gets likes and it's on your side, you're like, oh man, we ratioed them. And if they get likes and it's on the other side, it's like, oh, so they're obviously review bombing it or they're like astroturfing it, right? It's like, so it's meaningless. It's one of those meaningless things. Like if it happens for you, it's good. If it happens against you, then you're like, oh no, here's a reason why this doesn't matter. Sturgis does that shit all the time.
Also, real quick, they say a small minority of gamers are complaining about this, but they bring up a post that has a 176,000 likes, which is a small minority to them, but that's a lot of people complaining about Lara Croft's design. They're contradicting themselves in their own article. Using
this
evidence.
article too is written. It's written in my least
Late,
favorite style.
Hold on. Mint, you're misunderstanding. The 176,000 likes was on a post making fun of the people making fun of Laura.
Okay.
That's why they're saying, look, we have the bigger side because our side has 176 likes. But I'm sure if I go to one of the posts making fun of Laura, there's probably one that has a whole bunch of likes too. Because again,
yeah, I've
That's
seen
a great point from the chat here. A great point from the chat. 176,000 is nothing when a game sells millions of copies. And this was that's a point I keep making to some other people. It's like some of these games people do this with cost like $30, $40, $50, a piece. And so when you see these numbers that they're selling, it's like, yeah, it makes the Twitter stuff seem a lot smaller in comparison, but some of this stuff is a lot smaller, and I do think it takes more of an effect. So it's a weird sort of balance there.
And there's like millions of users on Twitter, right?
Right. Well, theoretically, we don't really know how many users there are on Twitter. That's one of my complaints about that platform in general, is that like so much of the interaction on there is like so
Well,
a
even if
lot
they're
of
fake,
it's genuine.
let's just even assume like it's all fake. But 176,000 is really low when you consider all the fake interactions that it should be boosted a lot higher, right?
Exactly. Yes, precisely. I mean, I've seen some people that I know that are decent programmers and people like that I trust say that, somewhere around 40 to 60% of the traffic on Twitter in general is just bogus. I don't know how close that number is to true, but I mean, I've seen Twitter themselves basically say, a bunch of it's bogus. So it's sort of a funny thing there. We don't really have a clear number, but it's certainly with the Disney stuff specifically, like it's all over. Like there, when Disney even gets brought up on Twitter, there is just bot activity through this out the ass. Like it's everywhere. So I don't know. I don't know whether who turns it on. Like that's always the question I have in those situations. Like who is using these bots or creating this stuff in the first place? It's not clear to me whether it's actually like the
Are you
company's
asking because you
bot.
need some on your post? Is that what it is? She's like, late
No,
bots,
I'm asking because I'm legitimately.
because I need them.
I look at it almost as a conspiracy thing, right? Like, if you're Disney, right, do you need to do that? Do you need to go pay to create these sort of bot algorithms online? Or is this sort of outside people doing this? And if so, then who has a vested interest in doing that? Media companies certainly would. So something I've definitely said in the past is, you might find out, 10 years, 5 years down the road that a lot of this bot activity, a lot of this stuff that's going on social media wasn't being run by companies or random people in their basements. It was being run by media companies who wanted to create basically their own stories. And I think they've been handed the tools to do so in a lot of these cases.
I don't think so. I'm going to disagree with you on this. What I think it is Disney you go to Disney, you go, hey, I can help improve your algorithm. And Disney knows you're full of shit, but they go, well, this gets us away from liability, right? We didn't do it. We hired Leighton, who's a consulting company. And well, I didn't know what Leighton was doing,
So I think that's the sort of symbiotic relationship of it, though. Because in that situation, both Disney and the media companies are getting what they want. And Disney is a media company. They own a lot of media entities. So I think I think we're not necessarily in disagreement. That's just, I think, the system at this point. I don't think it's good. Because at the end of the day, you end up with like artificial pop culture stuff. Where, like, my issue with pop culture stuff mostly comes from the fact that I think most of the people making up the writers, making up the producers and the directors and people are mostly educated through systems that are horrible. They don't actually know much about real storytelling and real, like, history stuff that ties into a lot of what makes up good storytelling. And so this is what you get dog shit media for. And so that's what everybody should be attacking, but all the rest of the stuff that gets thrown in the way is in a way a distraction that I think is benefiting not only the people making the schlock, but the people who are reporting on the making of the schlock. So it's sort of this weird environment, I think, and I think the YouTubers play a role in it too. I think people like Nerdrotic and these bigger channels that are doing this stuff all have a role there, whether or not that's an outside role, meaning Disney and these companies look at them as an algorithm. Like, they know if they put something out, these people are going to make videos, so they can play that. Like, these companies aren't dumb. They hire analysts and people who get paid $75,000, $85,000 a year to just sit there and do work like that. So I don't think that kind of stuff is far-fetched. I think that's actually, in reality, what we're kind of living through. It's a weird thing.
All right, so this last line, I think, actually really sums up my issues with this whole even argument, right? The show might not be great, but I hardly think Lara Croft's design has anything to do with it, right? The show apparently sucks. Apparently, it's just badly written. It's a bad
writing.
adaptation.
There you go.
So, my point to that is, let's suppose that she did look exactly like you. She had huge fucking knockers, slim waist, booty rocking everywhere, right? That's not good, but the show's written exactly the same.
It still have the
gonna be
same
dog shit.
writers, same producers,
Yeah.
same everything, same
Does that
schlock.
make the show better? Are you now like okay with the DEI in it because she looks hot, so all the other shit is okay, right? That all
You can
it's a
put
pass
lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig. it's literally that.
That's a good way to sum that up. Yeah, if she looks hot but the writing sucks, it's still a shitty show.
There you go. And
Yeah.
I think that makes up about 80% of the things that go on our televisions that come out in the modern era. It's like,
I haven't
it's
watched
all like
television.
pretty stuff. Well, I know, but like, recently, like, I started watching back through Doctor Who. I was a huge Doctor Who fan when I was a kid. I grew up with like a grandmother who watched it and stuff, and so I started watching back through that. Got through Capaldi. I'm almost through to the end of the Capaldi seasons, which I'd watched previously, but when they were running. And I'm about to get to the new stuff, and I just made the decision. No, I'm just gonna stop there at the end of Capaldi. I'm just not gonna watch anymore. I'm done. And the reason I made that decision was because I don't care about them making it a female doc. I really don't care about any of that stuff. I care about the writing of the show. And I've looked at synopses of the episodes and some of the key story points for those seasons, and I'm like, not interested in any of that. It sounds like exactly modern schlock writing that I'm just not interested in. I went and watched Deadpool recently. I don't know if either of you have watched the new Deadpool movie. I'm assuming.
I have. I reviewed
Okay.
it too. YouTube.com
Yes.
/ ASC Presents. Damn.
So I went and watched that. I actually enjoyed it. Like, I liked it. And there were a bunch of people I talked to who didn't. I didn't watch it as like a Marvel fan anymore. I just didn't go into it with this reverence for the past stuff anymore because I just don't have it at this point. Like, they've butchered so much of the stuff that I liked through modern writing that I just stopped watching any of it. So other than like the Avengers storyline, I didn't watch any of the outside Marvel stuff because I didn't find it interesting. I did watch Logan, and so like there was, that and stuff. So I really enjoyed Deadpool because I just watched it with like 3 people in my living room, and I didn't
feel
really,
like- Sorry. Yeah, I feel like it doesn't. It's not like a standalone movie though.
No, that's I think the only problem I had with it. I also had issues with the way they're going to tie any of it in. Like, and we were discussing that right after it. Like, how does that work? Like that. My main complaint with it to my brother was they could have detached that from everything, and we all would have loved that movie equally, I think, and it wouldn't have been able to affect any of the outside stuff.
No, I mean to say that you need to have watched, like, you have to have some sort of idea of what Marvel is, what style of Marvel humor that there is, in order to enjoy Deadpool and Wolverine. Otherwise, if you just go into it as a standalone movie, it doesn't hold up because the plots are dependent on the other movies, and the future is dependent on the other movies.
I get that with the Loki stuff, especially.
Yeah.
And
But
like
real
that
quickly,
stuff, I
let me ask
definitely
you
get what
this.
you're saying there.
What's your favorite Wolverine movie? And why is it X-Men Origins?
Well, so I could give really bad answers here because my favorite like X-Men movie is the second X-Men movie. And
no, but I said Wolverine specifically.
Right.
Just out of the Wolverine, Logan, and
the Wolverine. That's the second
Logan
one.
was really fun. I watched Logan more with family, and we were all like, some of us were old comic people, some of us were new comic people, so I enjoyed that movie a lot because it had enough of like the, hey, this is still the old character, but also it was played out like a more modern movie, like it had action scenes and all that kind of stuff. So I like that, and I like the emotional stuff in that movie. I think it was done way better than a lot of the other films. Logan. I think that's the best one for me.
The Wolverine is for me.
Yeah, I think
you're dead to me, Leighton. It's X-Men Origins is the best. If you don't believe me, you can hear me repeat that opinion on Hack the Movies, X-Men Wolverine episode.
I will actually listen to that.
And you can actually see me in person. I'm there in the physical form, transcending
I want to
YouTube.
Try to do some of those shows and like fly in and do stupid shit. I have vacation days that I have to use now, and I'm like, I want to find places I can go to do online stuff because it seems like a better thing to do than just
Fansly.com
or something stupid. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Tony, famous YouTuber Tony from Hack the Movies, not Frog Tony. Very famous YouTuber Tony from Hack the Movies is very famous. And he always has his very famous doors open all the time.
I can't remember. I think he's retweeted me. I don't know if he follows me on Twitter. I have to look.
All right, moving on.
Hell
Something
yeah.
more important.
Tuh.
I don't know if you know this, but Twitch just banned Asmongold. This comes from that Park Place, so you know it's going to be very unbiased. But Twitch bans Asmongold's Zakrar channel after discussing war in Palestine.
Like just
Fucking
talking
Twitch
about
is-
it.
No, that's the way they're framing it. But apparently, he said something that was deemed racist. We'll get into it.
Oh.
But again, this is a right wing website. John F. Trent used to run Bounding into Comics before he sold it. Then he created this one, which is now like Bounding into Comics version 2.0. Right?
His font is. I hate the font that he's using. I'll just put that up there.
Is that like the Disney font, like, but
Yeah.
not?
I don't know what it is, but whatever it is with those color schemes, like I have bad eyesight, so you don't have to take my word for it, but it just is hard to read what it actually says.
Yeah, he could instead of saying collectibles and toys, that's too much to read at a glance, design wise. You gotta have it condensed like one word so someone can read it preferably under 5 characters, like movies or TV.
Yeah.
Bam. Like critiquing the website design.
All right. Twitch banned streamer Asmongold's Zakrar channel after he discussed the war in Palestine during a recent stream. Well, I love one of my pet peeves in articles is when the headline is the exact same fucking thing as the next fucking line. Like, we know that. We read that in the headline. You didn't have to repeat
They
that.
do that entirely for search results for the algorithm, and it's complete BS.
They actually they do that. All that SEO, like 90% of it, actually doesn't work, from my understanding.
No, it's all horseshit. Yeah, I tried to look into like how that stuff works, and the more I got into it, the more I realized like most of this is filtered out anyway, so it just is useless.
Useless, just like me. But anyway, in a clip uploaded to the Drama Alert account on X, Asmongold stated, quote, "If you want to consider a genocide as a systematic killing of a group of people, they have genocide built into Sharia law right now. So no, I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck." Fair point. He continued, "They're terrible people. It's not even a question. It's crazy that people don't see it that way." Let's hopefully we won't get banned, but I'm gonna play the clip. I'm gonna be brave.
If you want to consider a genocide as a systematic killing of a group of people, they have genocide built into Sharia law right now. So no, I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck. They're terrible people. It's not even a question. It's crazy that people don't see it that way.
I have a
They'd be
bunch of
doing the
issues
same
with this
thing.
statement.
What's that?
I have a number of issues with this statement, but we'll get into that. Because he's using a bunch of
How
different
much did they kill?
political fallacy
As
stuff
many
I
as
hate.
they can. They're not able to kill as many people as Israel because they don't have as many bombs and as many weapons. But if they did, they'd be doing the same thing. That's it. Just takes enough. That's right. These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible. It kills people for their identity, and it is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways. It is that simple. No, I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't care. I don't support them.
While I don't necessarily disagree with things that he said there.
I have points here. So I'll start this by saying Asmongold should not be banned. Twitch is a softest organization that seems to ban anybody that they just have a disagreement with or anybody that gets enough backlash. They're a joke of a platform that just...
I think they were just waiting to ban him, right? I think
well,
he's on the
absolutely. And on top of it, like Twitch in general is just like... How many times do we have to have outed that their like whole their whole ecosystem is just horrible on the back end, and that their employees are like talking to the creators they like and trying to screw over the creators they don't like, and that's been something
And trying
we've
to
known
screw the
as a
creators
thing.
that they simp for, right?
Exactly. We've known this for like at this point at least 5 years. Like this has just been common knowledge, at least to me on the internet. Like I feel like we've gotten a story every 6 months of a Twitch person getting screwed over, completely fisted by the people that are supposed to be supposedly the platform they're on that are signing their money. My second thing here is the actual content of it, which and I make this point to people all the time, which is like, first off, with his Sharia law argument there are lots of things the U.S. government doesn't do, that I absolutely think is atrocious. I don't think that anybody outside the U.S. government should be able to take a single person from inside the U.S.
Whoa,
government.
whoa,
a
whoa, whoa!
citizen.
Hold up! Let me stop you right there, because what you're doing is whataboutism. Who cares about what the U.S. government does? That's not the conversation. We can have that conversation if you want, Lee, but not right now. Right now, we're discussing the Palestinians. You said,
Well, no,
Sharia
I'm
law,
discussing
whether or not it's
governments.
true. No, we're not. He's
Because
not
he
talking
made
governments.
the
He said
argument they believe in
Sharia
this,
law.
they're under this law, right?
Yes,
so
Sharia
I'm
law.
saying they are
Who
under
cares
this
about the
law,
others? Who
not
cares
by
about the US?
choice.
Who cares about the U.S.?
So
Is what he said about the Sharia law true or not? That's it. What he said about Sharia law, is it true or untrue?
that they're under Sharia law.
No. First, the question I asked you was what he said about Sharia law. What Sharia law says as far
Yeah,
as
that's
what
accurate.
Okay,
But that doesn't have anything to do with what I'm saying.
But no, you're arguing. He said that they're under Sharia law, and Sharia law tells
Right,
them to
and
do
I'm
X.
saying his argument could apply quite
No,
literally.
he doesn't care though. I don't care what the U.S. does. He doesn't care.
Well,
what,
you
he
should
just
care
cares-
about that. But-
because we're not talking about the U.S. right now. We're talking about Palestine. So in this context, Palestine.
Right.
They're
So do you
under
think that
Sharia law.
everybody who is in Palestine, who is under, quote, Sharia law, believes in what their, quote, government is doing?
I just said no.
Right. Okay. So then he's making the
He's not
generalized
talking about
statement.
individuals. No, he's not talking about individuals.
Well,
He's
he
talking about
is
the
bringing
country-
up what
No,
they're under.
He's talking
right?
about the
So-
country of Palestine. The country of Palestine is under Sharia law, and the country of Palestine is making decisions based on Sharia law. That's it.
The country of Palestine's government, right, that everybody is referencing as their elected government that was chosen back in the 2000s, early 2000s.
It doesn't matter. I don't care when they were chosen. They're in power correctly right now.
Well, my
Yes or no?
point,
Are
the
they in
whole
power
point
right
I'm
now?
making...
They in power right now?
This is a horrible way to have a conversation, man. The whole point I am stating is that you cannot apply that argument he is making across the board. Because if you were to do
he's not
that,
applying it across the board. He's saying
that's how
that the government-
morals and like actual.
He's
like,
saying,
you know,
if I said if the U.S. bombed a country, they bombed Japan. I go, the U.S. shouldn't be bombing Japan. That's wrong. I don't agree with the U.S. bombing Japan during World War II. I don't blame every single individual in the U.S. I blame the U.S. as a whole. Their government made a decision and they did it. He's saying Palestine, as a government, made a decision. He didn't go into each individual and go, "Do you believe what your country's doing?"
Right, but he follows that up with the statements that he makes of basically those people referring to the citizenry,
if you don't
referring to
agree with
everybody.
it, right? If you don't agree with what your government's doing and you don't stop them from doing it, then you're just as responsible. When good men do nothing, evil is allowed to thrive. Isn't that what we all say?
So
if their government is evil and we're all going, the government's evil, and they're going, well, I'm not going to do anything about it. Well, then I don't care what they have to say.
So how do you suppose that would be done?
Well, in America, we did a little thing called the Revolutionary War, where we said, "Hey,
right."
England,
in America, we had financial means at the time, and we had military support from other regions of the world.
You don't think the U.S. would support an insurrection within Palestine to overthrow their government?
They've tried and failed and didn't do it before.
No.
So,
you didn't.
yeah.
I didn't ask if they tried and failed. That's not the question. See, I asked.
No, I'm saying the Palestinians attempted to do that in the past, and the U.S. would not support it. That's what I'm saying. So I'm stating
currently.
Oh, I absolutely don't think so, no, because they would see it as doing exactly what Netanyahu did, which was funding them in the first place. Netanyahu has been handing people money for the past 10 years trying to control them as a terrorist group that he could basically fan the flame of. And then they turned on him, and now he's in this situation. Netanyahu is a horrible leader for Israel, regardless of that. Like, I come from Jewish family, so I've heard every argument on every side of this stuff. So I'm just saying, because I've heard all of these, like, this is something I've heard for, like, the entirety of my life. I come down on the argument of the same way that I do here in the U.S. The reason I call myself a libertarian is because I don't think that people necessarily who are in a general place can be prescribed to a government just because they're there at that given moment, unless those are people who have actually done something in that system. Like, there are people absolutely in this whole thing. I said if Israel the next day went in there and killed everybody that actually had a hand in that attack, I'd have no issue with it at all. That's actual retaliation. But what's been done isn't. In general, I think it's like the fourth most densely populated region in the world, and so you have a bit of a struggle there to do what they're doing, and have me being anti-war and not have an issue with it. The other problem I have, to be honest with you, I could ignore this entire situation if it was Israel and Palestine having this problem, but it's not. It's us, and because we're funding it, and because we have to give tax money to it, like. It does involve us. We should have opinions on it because it's our dollars going to pay for it. And I think it's our job, just like you're saying, where they have to put up or shut up. I think we have to put up or shut up and say, we're not giving you any money. We're not getting involved in any side of this. We're washing our hands of it and walking away. And I think we should have done that a long time ago.
All right. Well, either way, I don't think that what he's saying is necessarily horrible, horrific. And we both agree.
And no, I'm not saying it was all started by Israel at all. That's not what I'm saying in the slightest. I'm saying that Netanyahu directly, and he's on record saying this, he directly funded and helped these same people that did this, these same individuals, this same group entity he was giving money to, and he's been on record for years stating that. That's not a conspiracy. The Israeli Times and multiple papers that are papers backed by their own administration and have been cited by their own administration said that. That's not a conspiracy. That's reality.
To rein it in, we're just here to talk about Asmongold. Asmongold then asserted they're doing the same thing. How much did they kill? As many as they can. They're not able to kill as many as people as Israel because they don't have as many bombs and as many weapons. But if they did, they'd be doing the same thing. That's it. It's just it takes enough. We don't have to read. We heard what he said. We don't have to read it. Just, I hate when they do that too. Like they have the clip and then they just transcribe the exact fucking thing. In a post after the clip went viral, Asmongold apologized. Looking back on it, I was too much of an asshole about the Palestine thing. My bad. Of course, no one deserves to have their life destroyed, even if they do things or have views I find regressive. It's not really an apology anymore. You guys deserve more than me saying stupid shit like that. I'll do better. Never apologize.
He shouldn't have been banned in the first place, and he's a bitch for doing an apology. I hate that. I hate when the people actually do the apology tweet. It's like no one wants to see it. There's a bunch of comics of Opie and Anthony, Patrice O'Neill used to talk about like that. How comics would get canceled, and then they'd immediately come out with their like, I'm sorry I said this joke thing. And he was like, stop doing it. It makes everybody else look worse.
All right, so this guy, Manko, says, you just violated your golden rule of never apologizing. It would be interesting to hear why you made an exception on your next YouTube video. He says, I don't mind apologizing if it's something I think I'm actually wrong about. Given the amount of times I've gotten hate for things, never apologize should be proof enough of that. I think you're just a bitch.
Yeah, I just think he wants his Twitch back, and that's why he's apologizing.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's doing what I hate to see, because he had the opportunity here to like walk away with this with his head held high, going Twitch is a shit platform, everybody knows it. He's got a huge YouTube following. He's built up a giant following on every platform. He's huge on Twitter, he's huge on Facebook, he's huge on everything. And he said he was doing that intentionally. He wanted to get big on every platform. Well, he's done it. So why do that if you're going to do this? If you're going to just completely like fold? Like, I disagree with what he said, but I'm still like, fucking at least stand behind what you said, damn it. Like, at least have a backbone.
Zero principles, spineless, just like the chat saying. I agree.
You can go to Kick or something and be like the new guy at Kick. You can
You can go to
rally
D
behind-
Live. D Live's
Yeah.
still a thing, right?
I don't know.
Alex, that's stupid.
All right.
He literally
I believe
cut
that
like
happened on D Live.
he could have used this opportunity as like, hey, I got banned off of Twitch. Fuck Twitch, like you were saying, like making videos about it on like YouTube, and I'm streaming more on YouTube or I'm streaming more on Kick, and you know, there's a lot of former ex Twitch streamers that are now on Kick, that are big on Kick. So like I feel like
And
he
if
would
I'm
thrive there.
clear here, his Twitch ban was temporary, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or was this a perma ban?
I think it was temporary.
Right.
Anyway.
So for the people in the chat that are saying, well, he makes $100,000 a month. Yeah, but he knows he's going to get it back. He can go to any one of these other platforms temporarily and then just come right back. And people are saying Destiny has more in the spine than Asmongold. That's not really true. The only reason that Destiny is like still streaming where he is because he was legitimately banned. He couldn't go back to Twitch. Asmongold, if this is temporary, he can come right back. Destiny, like, he didn't have a choice. Like, there was no other option.
It just says he's banned from the platform, but it's not saying anywhere if it's a temporary or a permanent ban.
Everything I was seeing on Twitter that I was looking at was talking about 2 weeks. It's why, and I kept seeing people talking about 2 weeks in the reply. So I was under the assumption it was a 2-week ban, which is what I think they give people for, like, you know, nudity, explicitive stuff like that. Like, I can think of at least one person I know said the N-word.
Here's the thing. I don't know if maybe he has a contract with Twitch, so he can't go anywhere.
No, I know that's not, I don't think he has an exclusivity contract, because I know at one point he was doing these streams on Facebook and streaming over there for like an hour at a time. Now that might not be tied into Twitch, or maybe he has some kind of different deal with them, but I also think he was streaming at a time on YouTube for part of the day, on one of his like YouTube channels. I don't think he's exclusive, because I know my understanding, and this is just from stuff I've had conversations with a few random people, but my understanding is once you get to a certain size on Twitch, you bring so many people over that the contract starts to be more like you have the hours you have to meet, like, but other than that, you're kind of free to do what you want on whatever platform. There are people who I think got shafted on deals, though, but I think Asmongold's probably smart enough to have negotiated better than that.
Mia Khalifa survived. Asmongold's going to be all right. It says,
yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up with one more thing. Steam now warns customers they're buying a license, not a game, before they continue to payment, which is pretty much what everyone already knew, but I guess now they have to be explicit. Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like they've got to be more like straight up about it. But yeah, that's always been a thing. Even the discs, technically, I think the disc is like the digital copy data of the game, but it's still just a license to access that data.
Yeah. All right. So Steam now includes an upfront warning to customers that they're buying a license, not a game, ahead of California law going into effect. The change to Steam comes after California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a law forcing digital marketplaces to make it clear to customers that when they buy media, they only buy a license to that media. Thanks, Gavin. Thanks. Instead of saying, "Hey, let's make a law that when you buy media, they should give you a backup copy," right? Like, if we ban you from platform, we'll give you a downloaded copy so you could have it on your private computer, right, or something. No, let's just make it so. We know you're screwed, and it's just we just make it more explicit that you're screwed. We're not going to try to help you. We're just going to make it more explicit that you're screwed. Thanks, Gavin.
Yeah, I mean, and Sketch just confirmed in the chat their discs are just keys for games. I think what makes that kind of hilarious to me is that means, technically speaking, the only way to get a real copy of a game is to almost rip it, and to have like a hard data form with a key separate. like on a hard drive. Like that really is the only way to have like a real genuine copy that's like, and it's still not really physical. Yes, 46 for 56K warning in the chat. I mean, it's kind of crazy that that's the world we're in, but that is kind of the world we're in. Like, that's crazy.
All right. The change of theme comes. We read that. The law AB 2426 prohibits online storefronts from using the words buy, purchase, or any other term with a reasonable person would understand to confer an unrestricted ownership interest in the digital good or alongside an option for a time-limited rental. The law won't apply to storefronts that state in plain language that you're actually just licensing the digital content and that licenses could expire at any time, or to products that can be permanently downloaded. Companies that violate the terms could be hit with a false advertising fine. Again, instead of forcing companies to make it so you get the permanently downloaded or that you have a license that never expires, like, yeah, it's a license, but it's an unlimited license, right? They can't sell you like they can only sell digital media with unlimited licenses, right? That's the new law we're going to make. No,
I also feel
you're
like
screwed.
I also feel like on California's end, and this is a little bit of my libertarian coming out, but I feel like this is just a bit of a bureaucratic way of getting money out of mostly smaller game creators, because you're not going to get that money from big giant corporations and companies, because they're going to have people that are hired just to double check that every digital copy of their game that's sold on any platform has that disclaimer. But the 2-person development team, 3-person development team selling a $5 game might not have the the manpower or forethought to get that done, and then they're going to be the ones getting fined.
Yeah, it's.
It's never the big guy that they're trying to make these laws for. It's always like the smaller person. Because if you think about it, that makes sense. Like if you're Rockstar, you're never gonna not make sure this law is you're free and clear. Like you're just never gonna be in that situation. But if you're, like Tony and 3 other people decide to make a game together, unless you're up to date on all your stuff and you're checking this crap constantly, you're not gonna know that. So you make your own website to offer an actual digital copy of your game, and you don't give that little disclaimer like Steam does, and now you're just screwed. That's kind of insane to me.
It also means that you can pay money for access to a game, and then they can remove your access to that game for whatever reason. And it's like, I paid my hard-earned money. Like, I paid time to get this money in exchange, and then you're just going to take the money and not give me the product that I delivered? Great. I can't believe it. Then it's just going to make people not want to use... Well, people already knew this, but I think being more open and honest about it, it's going to make it so people... Is there any way to buy like the physical games?
No, because like we said, the discs are going to say the same thing. It's going to tell you it's just a key, and it's not an actual game. A lot of the games will have a disc, and the disc just accesses the digital copy and downloads it.
This is why to play Minecraft only. You pay $30, and then you have it forever, and you get all the updates. And they never take your game away, except for if you forget to change it to the Microsoft servers.
And again, on a bit of a conspiratorial angle, like, if you look at it from this perspective of like, all right, they're pushing Game Pass. I have Game Pass for my console because I want to be able to play online Xbox games. I have a laptop, and when I travel, it's nice to be able to log in on there and play some stuff. But the reality of them pushing all those services, PlayStation has their version, and Steam has, I think, a monthly subscription thing now too, and all these different platforms, is that now you're basically renting the licenses. So you're not only are you not getting a game, you're getting a license, but you're renting that license to the game itself. So you're going through 3 now separations to get to the actual data that is the game itself. And that whole system now basically just turns you into a monthly financial metric, right? Like $18.50 a month.
But they're pretty explicit about that.
No, well, no, I'm not saying that's one. They're allowed to do that. I think that's
That's true. I don't believe in piracy, Dalish.
Ultimately, I
Piracy's
think the
illegal.
reason we're moving that direction and those companies are doing that is, frankly, the smaller game devs and those kind of people can't really do physical media. They can't do physical content. It's just not cheap. And a lot of these larger companies, like, that manufacture games, and Microsoft being one of them now that they bought up so many of these game publishers, the reality of that is that they own a lot of these companies that even produce stuff for physical media. So things like discs and like the actual hardware of that kind of stuff is like made by like all these companies, but all those companies are owned by the same people who are paying them to do it on the back end. So they get it all cheaper. So it makes it much more expensive if you're getting into it. It's just I think physical media is something people like. They've successfully killed off 90% of the avenues to get actual physical games, actual physical media, to the point where, yeah, it is kind of like surfing the high seas and doing that kind of activity is the only way to get real stuff that you can hold on to. And even then, you're getting old versions of it, and if it's newer stuff, then it's not going to have updates and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of challenges there.
All right, moving on. Says the law came in after a number of high-profile cases in which gamers saw their video games deleted following a server shutdown. Again, their games weren't deleted. Mostly, it's just like the game wouldn't work, right? Like it's an online game. The server is shut down. You can't play it anymore.
Well, because my assumption is the keys changed. So when they went to go play that game, because the keys changed, you have to go re-download that key, and then you'll be able to play it again.
No, the server's gone. It's an online game. The Crew is an online game. It's like Fantasy Star Online. The server shuts down, so that the game's no longer. You can't play it anymore.
Individual
just go,
title. Okay.
Yeah. That's what he. Ubisoft sparked a backlash after it deleted the Crew from players' libraries. So that's different. When that game servers went offline, meaning even those who paid full price for the open world racer could no longer play it. Ubisoft eventually added offline modes to both the Crew 2 and the Crew Motorfest, but said it wouldn't bring back the original following its shutdown in March. Now, as spotted by Engadget and verified by IGN, Steam includes a warning at the shopping cart stage that tells customers they're only buying a license to the game, which carries the implication that the license may be revoked in the future. The warning is displayed just below the continue to payment button. A purchase of a digital product grants a license for the product on Steam, reads the warning, which points to the Steam subscriber agreement for full terms and conditions. Again, this is just going to be something that everyone just skips over anyway. No one's going to read. And then 6 months from now, you're going to hear a bunch of people pissed off that their games got deleted or some shit. And they're like, well, the warning was there. You didn't read it. What the hell was that?
Oh, I thought I muted. Did I not mute?
No, it sounded like you're strangling the mic, and I thought you were going to say, like, you're so mad. You're like, oh, you're going to say something? And then
no,
nothing.
I was taking a drink.
No words
of water.
came out. Well, I'm not looking at the
water.
screen. I'm looking at the I'm reading the article. Speaking of not looking at the screen, Dirty Dalish, what's going on? You got choice words for this article, I assume?
Choice words for you, Frog Tony.
What'd I do?
Ooh.
Why are you still 4?
Why are you still 4?
Can you? Am I allowed to finish my thought? If that's okay.
Yeah.
No, sorry, it cut out for me, so I didn't hear you. My bad.
Okay. So I don't understand. I'll rephrase it. Why you're against piracy, and why do you think people have a right to be angry about this? The fact that Steam can just decide, you know what, I'm going to take that game out of your library. Yeah, you paid $70 for it, but we decided you're not going to be able to play that anymore.
Well, okay, so that's like two questions. So as far as being upset, I don't think Steam should be able to delete anything. I've said this before. The whole idea of buying the digital license is retarded. Once you buy it, you should own it. They shouldn't be able to delete it from you. And if it's a question of like, well, the servers go down, they should give you a downloadable copy for offline use. Somehow make it offline. Whether the developers got to go in there and set something so you can play it offline. It's not online only. I've always said that. As far as why I'm against piracy, I'm against piracy because 90% of people who pirate are not pirating because I need a backup copy of the crew. They're pirating because I don't want to pay for the crew. I'm just going to get it for free. That's why.
I think you're wrong in that fact. I believe that most people are pirating because what is the point of buying a game you do not own?
See that if you're not buying the game, you're just pirating it because, well, I'm not going to own it anyway, so I might as well just steal it. Just if you're not going to own it, don't buy it. Don't steal it. I can see you saying I'm going to buy it and then also pirate it. That way, I have a version that they can't.
What do you mean? Don't steal it. You don't own it either way.
Well, you rent it.
What do you mean? Don't steal
Right,
it.
I
You don't
think the
own it
problem-
either way.
The problem is you're getting a license either way. So from my perspective, either way you cut it, you're not stealing a game, you're stealing a license, if anything. The problem I have is, from a moral standpoint, the reason I don't have much of an issue with it is because you're sort of put in a physical position where you do not have another option. You can either not play the thing, pay to rent it and never own the actual data behind it, or pirate it and you have the option of still going and giving that person the money because you can always go buy a copy and pirate it. Well, I think a
I
portion
think that
of
you
people will
can't
do
argue
that.
because you don't pirate, Frog Tony, so you don't know what it is to be one of these people. You're standing on this like moral high ground that does not exist.
I know that I came up on the internet and was friends with a lot of people in the cypherpunk like space of like crypto and stuff. And a lot of them even built websites that are still around today, like private piracy groups and things like that. Those people had the position of, if you can, you should still be paying for the product, and that was baked into their whole creed. That in the old internet, like the guys I know who are still around from that sort of day and age, like the 90s, 2000s internet, that's how they think about it. But I do think there's, a modern sentiment of, well, it's just a free way of getting a game. The problem there is it's not like torrenting and doing that kind of stuff is necessarily easy these days. There's a lot of, it's certainly more easy than it used to be, but it's also a whole rigmarole. So the percentage of people that are actually going to even do it is not as big as people think, because it's not as easy as people think.
Well, again, I personally, for me as a person, personally believe that if you are going to pirate, right, I am against piracy because, and again, I said, can't stress this enough. If you're just pirating it to have the game because you don't want to pay for it, if that is your justification, I do not want to pay for it, or I can't afford to pay for it. So
that's such dumb logic. They want to play the game. That's why they're pirating it. You don't have to buy it.
Let me finish. If you're just doing it because you don't want to pay money, you're supposed to pay money. That's the agreement of society where you're supposed to pay the money to play the game. And you're like, I just don't want to pay the money to play the game. Then,
well, no,
you might not say it's stealing. You might not think it's stealing.
We're saying you pay the money to play the game. We're saying you pay the money to own the game. Those are the two differences here. You are paying money.
Let me finish. Let me fucking finish. Somebody, Jesus Christ!
Oh my God! Do not act like that.
No, because you're supposed to. Look, they say this is a digital license. Whether you agree with it or not, whether you like that it's a digital license or not, that's not the argument. The argument is they're saying if you want to play this game, you have to give us money. And so if you do not give them money, you should not play the game, right? It's like if I could just hop the fence and get into Disneyland, but I'm not supposed to. I'm supposed to pay money at the gate and give them money. I'm not supposed to take food into the movie theater.
He's
the movie theater says
because,
don't take food into the theater.
You're mad because you'll pay and you don't like that other people have the logic that they don't have to.
It's Stockholm syndrome. The reality it is because the people telling you to pay for it are the same people not giving you the opportunity to actually buy it.
I don't care. That's what the problem you're missing.
Games are.
I don't
you're-
care that I don't
Oh my
own it.
God.
I just want to play it. And if they say give me money to play it, I go okay.
Well,
here's
so
money.
then you've conceded already. You've said you understand that it's a difference of owning and playing. I'm saying that what I want to do is own a game. And if you want to
Right, but
own
you-
a
but
game,
you-
the only way to
are you
own it
paying
right
for it?
now currently, regardless of
If
whether
you're
you're
not paying
paying
for
for it, I'm saying yes, I pay
Should-
for
oh,
it.
so should you own it? That's the question then. Should you own it if you're not going to pay for it?
You don't own it if you pay for it.
You don't own
Are
it if
you
you pay for it.
fucking
That's the problem here.
Okay, well, hold on. Your argument is I should be able to own it, and they go, you can't own it. You can only license it. So then don't play it and don't buy it.
I don't think
And
you
then-
understand
and
the
then
point of the argument. I
eventually-
literally
hold
don't
on,
think
hold
you
on.
understand the point.
If you
And
don't
you
own,
want to keep talking.
if you pay money and you don't own it, and if you don't own it, if you just steal it or pirate it or borrow it from the internet.
So when your
if
friend
don't
lets
own
you
it
borrow
anyway,
a game,
if there's no way to own it, then don't
Yeah.
play it.
The point she's about to make here is spot on, which is so
Yep.
then if you hand a disc to somebody else, they need to go pay that developer separately.
No.
Well,
it's
why
the
not?
same thing, Frog Tony. Why do you not get that through your head?
So you're equating me borrowing someone a physical
If I
item.
download the
How
copy
does somebody
that
get a
someone is
torrent-
letting me borrow,
You know what
It's
the
the
difference
same
is?
thing
Here,
as
hold on. Here's the
borrowing a
difference.
game.
Here's the difference. Here's the difference. If I hand Leighton my copy of Scarface, I don't have it. Leighton has it. So only Leighton can watch it until he gives it back to me. If I download a digital copy of Scarface, I have it, and the original
Play the
person
game
still
for
has
free,
it. We
though.
can both
But
watch it.
I can
play the
take
game
your
for free,
digital
though.
copy and upload it, and then anybody can watch it.
I thought
Right,
you
which
said
is
you had
which
to
is
play to
wrong. Which
play
is
the
what I'm
game.
saying. That's wrong. It's like taking a copy of your DVD. You're not supposed to make copies of your DVDs
so
and hand them
dumb
out to
right
people.
now.
It's not
Oh,
dumb. I'm
Tony, you
sorry
never
if I was
bought
raised-
bootleg DVDs. Come on, live a
Did
little.
I ever say that? I've said this in
You
the
can't
past.
go buy a
I've
game
done
at
that.
the yard sale. Ah,
I've said this
you're punting,
100%.
motherfucker. Go give
100%.
the
I
actual
used to
game
pirate-
developers the full amount of money. Frog Tony thinks it's
No.
wrong.
You can secondhand buying is not wrong. There's the
You
secondhand
are
market
so
is different.
hypocritical. You are so
How's that hypocritical? Buying a copy of a game, I own it, and then I sell it to Leighton. Now he owns
Dude,
it. I don't have it
fucking
anymore.
lit
There's a
56.
difference. Do you not see the difference between two people being able to use an item versus only one person being able to use the item?
But
Are-
dude,
are you
50K
fucking for
in the
real?
chat.
Are you
I bought a
fucking for
Honda
real?
Civic brand new in 2005 by selling internet
selling it,
mixtapes. Fucking
We don't
awesome.
pay attention to the chat. The chat is irrelevant.
I love the chat.
Oh, if someone wants someone saying let's pirate Delicious Porn, yeah, I'm all about that. I don't give a fuck. I'm for piracy. You want to go steal my fucking porn? I don't give a shit. Someone else is gonna buy it if you don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't
The
fucking
reality
matter.
of piracy is it's all about simplicity and availability, and for most people 90% of the populace is not going to pirate anything because it's too difficult, or they just won't put out the extra work. They'd rather go buy the thing off the disc or get the
Okay,
license.
but how does that
for
affect
the
me
pe-
on a personal level? Personally, I
because
think that
for
wrong.
the group
Why
of
can't I not
people-
hold this opinion? Why do you have to try to browbeat me to
No,
go?
I'm not
Look,
saying
look,
you
look,
can hold the opinion you have. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just simply stating that the reason my opinion exists is because
I
for
know
the
why your
people-
opinion exists because people
Stop
want to
yelling.
own shit.
Right, I look at it as a right of ownership. I don't think it's sort of like right of repair. Louis Rossman makes this point all the time. I'm a free market guy, so coming from my perspective, I should hate Louis Rossman for making the arguments he makes, but I don't, because when he makes the argument for right to repair, which I think he makes a very valid argument that these companies are individually making products more and more difficult for the consumer to actually fix themselves.
Yeah,
They're
think that's
doing
fucked
it
up.
deliberately.
Yeah.
And so I think in a similar way, the game companies have done that exact same
I'm
situation.
not
with the
arguing that.
data.
See, this is the problem you guys are not understanding. Let me.
Okay, yeah, we're
understand.
not understanding. You're right, Frog Tony.
I understand that for some people, this is okay. They think that it's okay. I get that. I am not one of these people. I'm not judging you. I'm not calling the police on you. I'm not contacting Ubisoft and going, I got one. Ubisoft, I got one. Here's Leighton. No, I'm just going, for me, personally, I can't get over the fact that if I don't pay for something, I don't feel like I should use it. That's it, on a personal level. Whether it's an item, whether it's going into a place, whether it's sneaking food somewhere. At some point, I used to do all of that stuff. And then I became an adult with money, and I said, well, I don't need to do that anymore. I can afford things. If I want to play a game, I can afford it. Huh?
Get off your high horse.
It's not a high horse. It's just
yes, you are. You're like, I have money, so now I can afford to do these things. That's why I don't steal anymore. That's straight up what came out of your mouth. So stop looking down on the people who don't have the money.
I'm not looking down on them.
That's what you did. You said they can't have the game.
This is where I separate.
You pay for it.
Because I am a free market individual. I do look down on the people with less money. I had less money. I was broke as piss shit poor. But the reality there is that I didn't get games and start playing video games until I got older because I started getting money. I realized around the time that I was 15, 16 that there was already this issue in games because I was trying to play older retro games that I never got the chance to play when I was young. And I realized the only way to really get copies of them without paying $300, $200 for a Game Boy game was to go get it on the web. And the reality there is that I saw Mystic in the chat, or not Mystic, it was, or Sketch in the
Forget
chat.
the chat.
About
we don't talk to the chat during the Grift is a non-chat interactive thing.
I like the chat.
That's why literally it says on the bottom, Super Chat's read at the end of the show, because it's supposed to be like not interactive.
Okay, I have a genuine question for you, Frog Tony. A not angry question.
Uh-oh.
I'll ask this as chill and as sweet as possible for you, because you know what? I have been quite mean to you. I'm sorry. If you knew how to pirate games, would you do it? Because that's what I think it comes down to, is you don't know how to do it. You don't even know how to do the VTuber stuff. You paid for it.
You asked me a question. I gave you an answer, and then you didn't like the answer I gave you.
Because I know you're lying to me.
I'm not lying.
That's the thing. Yes, I do. Then prove it. Pirate a fucking game, but you won't.
Do it right now. Do it on stream. Get banned.
It goes against your morals.
Hold on. What do I get out of this?
What do you want?
Absolutely nothing.
What do you want out of it? If you prove to me that you can do it.
Yeah, if I prove to you that I can do this, because if I'm gonna do something, never do anything for free, right? If you're good at it, never do anything for free. So me and Dalish will work something out, and I will prove to you that I can pirate games. Okay, no problem.
Because that's what I really believe is why you're against it. So if you prove to me that you can pirate a game, and it's not because you have the technological know-how, Jesus Christ, words. I'll shut the fuck up. I won't yell at you.
Did you shutting a woman up? I don't believe that.
Tony the type to click on every download button ad.
Do you mean like shut up like permanently, or like never yell at me again, or just like on this issue?
I already bet Tony's gonna click on the ad that's like tip the creator that makes this site.
All right.
Sorry, so what was the question?
We'll work something out, but the question was, fuck if I know, I forgot.
we successfully mind wiped
that's
Tony.
What the question was. The question was, you said you would stop yelling at me. Is that like a permanent? Do I get like a permanent never yelled at again, or is it just
just about piracy?
She'll send you an actual card.
Yeah, then I can hold up like. Can you send me those little, like, when they make, like, when you can't afford gifts and you make, like, a little card, like, one free hug? Like, could you send me, like, a pack of cards, and then, like, once I go through, like, you can't yell at me, I can just put it up whenever I want. Like, no, I'm holding up the card. I'm using my one don't be yelled at card.
I'll make some Dalish stops yelling cards.
You can toss some extra things in there with the not yelling. All right.
Yeah, some youth panties. I know what you're thinking, Frog Tony. You dirty. Won't pirate, but you're a dirty bird.
I can't argue with that last part.
All right, I think that's a good turning point. I'm actually going to do my own stream, Tony. So I'm going to head off this stream.
Well, we're pretty
I'm
much done
excited.
anyway, Mint. So
Cool.
where are you gonna go now?
Well, where I'm going to go now is my NSFW Spicy sites on autisticboobs.com. I'm going to play some Minecraft. That's what I'm going to do tonight. But also I do daily movie reviews every day at 7 p.m. Eastern time at youtube.com/ASC presents. And also pizza eating contest coming up this Saturday. Dalish, are you practicing your pizza eating skills?
I had some pizza yesterday. I'm excited.
Heck yeah. That's going to be this Saturday. It's going to be me. It's going to be Dirty Dalish, Katie Did, and I don't know who else. I think it's just us three. But
Well, it's the three. I'm gonna eat pizza too in spirit, but I won't be part of the contest. You know what? How about this? I'll challenge the three of you. How's that sound? I bet you I could eat the whole pizza before the three of you's even one of you's finished.
Ooh. What do we get if we beat you, Tony?
Well, I'm already putting up 100 to the winner of the ladies.
So it's going to be by default. You expect us to lose to you, so there's no money prize for winning against you?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. There should be a bonus.
Whoop his ass,
If he
man.
loses, he has to record a video of him pirating a game and then put it up on Rumble.
Oh my god.
All right. Thank you, Mint. Always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Leighton, where are you going to be? Where can we find Leighton?
I'm going to be uploading again real soon to my YouTube channel, Outlawed Thoughts, and then you can get some quicker content from me over on my Twitter, which is @LibertyLeighton. I'm running for office, so there's that over here in Alaska, so you can see me update stuff about that.
What office?
House of Representatives.
Everyone vote for him. He's not against piracy.
Yeah. Well, it's Alaska. It doesn't matter. All right. Thank you, Leighton, for showing up. We hope to see you more on the 100% veto-free Tuesday Night Grift.
Yes, I'll be stopping in more frequently now. I'm sort of back on the internet as it would be.
Oh, yeah. All right. Dalish, where can they find you? Besides yelling at me on Saturdays.
And sometimes Tuesdays. Don't forget it, Frog Tony. You can catch me, Dirty Dalish, on YouTube. You can also Google Dirty Dalish if you want to see some spicier stuff. You know, I don't care if you look at it for free. And yeah, Saturday, the pizza eating contest. See if we can beat Frog Tony.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. All right. Thank you for being here, Dirty Dalish. Guys, we appreciate it. As always, love, peace, booty grease. We out.
Come on, baby, let's do the grift.